honored to introduce to you Orit. Thank you so much, Orit, for being with us again. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I'm
Thank you
put
so
myself
much.
on mute.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you, Naomi. Thank you to all this beautiful community, Nishmas community. It's so beautiful. It's so beautiful. I actually took upon myself this ritual when I came back to Tshuva, Be'ezrat Hashem, 20 plus years ago. I was, there were a few rabbis that were very instrumental in our coming back to Tshuva. And one of them was Rab Bachrach. I don't know if anyone's familiar. He basically, it's Or Yisrael in Muncie. And the Rab was very, very instrumental in bringing our family back to Tshuva, also Rabbi again, and so on and so forth. Anyway, I was doing some Pesach cleaning, and I found this very beautiful 13-day ritual. If anybody wants, I'm happy to share it, where for 13 days, each day you light a candle for another tzaddik or a group of tzaddikim, and you read a whole seder of Tehillim and Nishmat. And then you, of course, do a Yehi Ratzon and then ask for a request. And I remember doing this in the beginning of my derech of tshuva. And I saved my saying Nishmat to, as part of the group. It's very meaningful, very meaningful. I try to say Nishmat every day, but I don't always say it. But now it's my 13-day ritual. I'm on day 2. It actually worked out very well because I started on Rosh Chodesh Nisan, and it takes us straight into the 13 days is going to take us straight into Pesach. Anyway, I'm very happy to share. It's all in Hebrew, so there's nothing I could do if you don't know how to read Hebrew. It might be a little bit of a problem. I'll try to translate it, but it's very beautiful. It's very beautiful. So I want to just thank the community here for all the Geulah energy that you're bringing into the world. We don't have any idea how much power Hashem gives every single one of us. We really can't fathom. We have no idea how the little something that I'm doing in my little corner of the universe is bringing in Geulah light. But here, with so many women getting together with one Ratzon, the word Ratzon is also the word Tzino, pipeline. One desire creates the pipeline. As they say in English, when there's a will, there's a way. Well, that's the whole idea of Ratzon. When you come with the intention of wanting to do something, and even, God forbid, harmful, we know that. We see people, what they do when they have an addiction and they have a need. When they have a need for their desires to be fulfilled, they'll find a way. The stronger the Ratzon, the stronger the ability to fulfill it. So I want to say Yasher Koach to all of you women from all around the world, for taking the time every single day. As we say in Hebrew, Zelo bichdi, it's not to be taken for granted at all what you ladies are doing. You should be proud of yourself that you really are bringing in the Geulah under the energy of Naomi Greenberg, who I know for a very long time has been talking about this idea and this Ratzon and this to move, to get things moving. Naomi likes to get things moving. I have to say, all Naomis that I know, including Naomi Batya, they're all movers. They're movers and shakers. They love to get things moving. It's they're qualities that sort of accompany you. But really, kol hakavod to every single one of you. I'm inspired and I'm humbled to be in your presence. So yeah, it's interesting. I'm noticing that all my classes, sometimes, I have to do some editing on it, and I'm seeing my face, honestly, and I'm noticing that there's something in my presence of speaking it's changed, and I'm looking at myself, and I'm noticing there's something different. There's that sigh, there's that heaviness, but not in a bad way, not in a depressed way. There's a movement. Yes, is doing energy work. There's a movement, there's shifting, there's energy movement, there's something, a paradigm shift that we're going through. And I do believe that the shift is from outward to inward. It's the pnimiyut, it's the internalizing. I don't want to say it's PTSD, it's post-traumatic syndrome. But I want to say, because we're not quite over also the trauma of the virus, and I believe that we're in trauma as a world. Not only were we in personally, but I feel like as a collective world we are. But this is all taking us to a good place, which is the beauty, which is really the beauty of everything that we're going through. So I do believe that we are going and collecting sort of all that energy, and we're bringing it now we're internalizing it. And that's what I want to talk about a little bit today. As I always say, God willing, I should be the first student to learn all the things that Hashem puts in my mouth. Because when you teach, you can't sell, quote unquote, anything to anybody unless you really try to internalize it and breathe it in and integrate it into your own consciousness first. So before teaching, I look at the material and I think to myself, are you there? What do you have to work on? So I become my first student, before I even attempt to think that I can pass something on. So when we're talking about the idea of the silent scream of Geulah, and this is kind of like a part 2 to the first class, because I've been speaking a lot about the idea of the silencing. I want to talk about the idea of what this silence is meant to do. I want to talk about the silent scream that Rabbi Nachman speaks about in Sichan Haran, number 16, is in his collection of talks, number 16. And I want to refer to the idea of the heart wall. So there's actually an energy therapy called emotion code. And this emotion code speaks about the idea of the heart wall. It's actually the first time I actually heard about it from a energy therapeutic kind of perspective. And the idea of this heart wall is that there is this wall, this fortress, that our heart is sort of encapsulated. It's enclosed. It's being safeguarded, and it's a survival mode. It's a survival mode that I feel that many of us have put ourselves into, and it's because we need it. We need it. So I'm not here to dismiss it. I will say to you that Rashi speaks about it, and he talks about Arilat Halev and Orla, an actual covering over the heart, which is really this, that heart wall in Torah wording. And Rashi defines this Arilat Halev. There are 3 orlot. There's 3 different sort of coverings and encasements. One of it is, the heart. And he speaks about it in reference to atimut, tuma, timtum. These are different kinds of other variations of words. And atimut means the sealing of the heart. Timtum alev means the foolish heart, if we want to call it. But it really comes from the word tuma'ah. When we think of the idea of tuma, impurity, I don't know how many of us have really learned the idea of what really tuma is, impurity is, but it's not dirtiness, as we were maybe taught at one point or another. It was seeped into our consciousness from an erroneous space. But timtum and tuma, impurity, is really from the word atimut. It's to be sealed off. When we women go through our time where we're tmeim, where we're impure in our menstrual cycle, it means that we're closed in. We have a fortress around us. And what that means is that this fortress around us serves as a fortress of going internalizing, going within ourselves. Hashem sort of seals us off from our husbands, from the ability to give off, energy, and to take energy and to give off energy in a relationship, so that we can go back inside of us and we can do some house cleaning, Pesach cleaning all year round during that time of tum'ah, of being distant from our husbands. There's a lot of, esoteric meanings to it. We need to know that. So when we're talking about the idea of silence, we need to understand is that we're all born with this fortress, with this heart wall, with this atimut and timtum halev. And of course, there are many things that we could be doing to add on to the layers. We start off with one layer, but boy, let's say, throughout our lifetime, we can be adding and adding and adding. And before we turn around, we've got, walls upon walls upon walls. And we do this all the time. We go into this mode of survival. And instead of breaking and shaving down and crushing down this wall of ours, we end up unfortunately building even higher and higher, levels of protection between us and the outside world. So in order for us to go through a process, which really is, if we look at the actual, one of the conditions of Geulah, one of the conditions of redemption is the lev even, our hearts of stone, will turn into lev basal, a heart of flesh. This is one of the conditions and the descriptions that we know is going to happen to us. That war, that heart wall, that heart of stone where I closed it down because I'm afraid. We were born into trauma. We were separated from our Creator. We feel abandoned. Every single one of us feels abandoned at the core. And then we put on top of that memories of our childhood and past lifetime memories that sit in our subconscious memory bank. No wonder we put like this layer upon layer upon layer around our heart. But the job is to break it down. And the job is to not hide behind this wall, but to recognize that in order to bring Geulah, we've got to take this wall, the stony heart, and we've got to make it feel. Lev basal, by the way, the word Breslev, the whole Breslev movement, they play on this, so to speak. They build on this, that's what the whole idea of Breslev movement is. And Chassidut, the Chassidut of Breslev is Breslev basal lev. They play on this and they say that this is the movement, Chassidut of Breslev is the movement of taking that stony heart and making it soft, palpitating, warm, truthful, all the emotions, to be honest and to honor the difficult things we have, the weak points, and also, of course, get us to feel any level of emotion so that we can come back to the real true self of feeling the love, feeling the chesed of Hashem. So our job is to break down this wall. And one of the prerequisites to break down this wall is hachna'ah, is to surrender. And this is something, again, that I, God willing, this beautiful program, Healing Hearts program, that's going to start right after Pesach, that'll take us through the weeks of Omer, of building the true me, right? This is the 6-week program where I'm going to get into this whole idea of the 3-step transformative process taught in depth from the Baal Shem Tov HaKadosh. Hachna, Havdalah, Hamtaka, surrendering / submitting. Step number 2 is separating, and step number 3, sweetening, which I'm not going to get into it. I just want to stop for a moment on the hachna part, the step number 1 of surrendering. When we surrender, any growth, any transformation we are meant to go through, we need to go through these 3 steps. This is the will and testament of the Baal Shem Tov, that he taught us the Jewish psychology of what it means to really transform. You got to get to a place of sweetening it. And so the first step of hachna'ah, if you take the word hachna'ah, surrendering, and you look at the root letters, kaf, nun, ayin, it spells the word ken, ayin. Yes, the I. The ayin is also means I. Right? So kaf nun spells the word ken, yes, I agree. What am I agreeing to? Ayin, what my eye is seeing. And that's the whole process of achna'ah. It's very in depth, of course. Again, I can't get too much into it, but the idea of achna'ah means I'm surrendering and I'm saying yes to that which I see. I'm taking it in and I'm in silence. I'm not going to fight with you, Hashem, because you know better. And I'm in that place of acceptance. And that is the bridge that we need to begin to travel on in order to transform anything in our lives. It first begins with silence. That is it's actually the deafening silence. Vayidom Aaron, when Aaron was silenced, Rosh Chodesh Nisan was the yahrzeit of Nadav and Avihu, of the two children of Aharon HaKohen, right? It was also the birthday of Rabbi Nachman yesterday, but that is the gadlut and the greatness of Aaron. Vayidom Aaron, and he stood quietly. He was in acceptance. Hashem, you know better. And it's in that silence, that deafening silence, that I nod my head, I put it down, and I say, you know better, Hashem. It shatters the ego. It shatters the ego of us complaining in our brain, hearing the complaints in our brain as though, Hashem, I don't know, I don't think this is fair. You know, we all go through this. We all have these voices in us saying, Hashem, I don't know, what are you doing? This is not fair. This is not right. So the quieting allows this next step. And the next step is separation, right? Hamagdil ben kodesh lechol. The separation between chol, mundaneness, everyday, and kadosh. Kadosh Baruch Hu. I'm able to separate myself. I'm the mundane. I'm the chol. I'm the nothingness. I'm the chol. I'm the sand on the beach. Kodesh. Kadosh Baruch Hu. But I have to first be in silence. That's the bridge, which will eventually lead us to the third step, to the sweetening. When we silence ourselves, we're allowing the animal inside of us. And we all know that we're all composed of various different voices and different consciousness. And one of it is an animal consciousness. Yes, there's a tiger inside of me. There's a lion inside of me. There's a cockroach inside of me. There's a bird inside of me. There's a worm inside of me. There's a paro inside of me. There's a Yosef Atzadik inside of me. There's a Rachel Imenu inside of me. Talk about complete split personalities. Yeah, we've got all those voices invading garments of thoughts, of speech, of action. It's all inside of us. When I quiet myself, I'm allowing for the inner voice that's tucked away inside. I allow it to arise, and I allow for the animal to hear something else. I quiet the animal's complaints. The animal complaints that are saying, how dare you? How dare you take me out of my comfort zone? How dare you take this away? How dare you, mess around with my equilibrium? How dare you, so to speak? That challenging voice inside of us that challenges Hashem, right? And that is essentially that shaves off a layer. It shatters an aspect of that heart wall within ourselves. It's a brit milah. It's like we're circumcising, and that's what it is. Rashi says it's a circumcision of the heart. It's allowing the heart, the warmth, the love, the lev mevin, the understanding in the heart that really knows and understands Hashem's sort of master plan and surrenders to that voice to be heard. I have to go quiet. My natural instinct to go, I'm going to go ahead and go attack. Somebody's got to pay the price for this. It's unfair. It quiets that whole system down, and it allows for the gadlut of Hashem to arise within, and I can hear something different. I'm going against my nature, by the way, when I'm doing this, that's the whole idea of hachna'ah, is I'm going against my initial response. My initial response is, and I'm quiet and I say, no, just accept it. Now, again, there are levels of tefillah. Of course, we have to beseech Rachamei Shamayim and ask Hashem to make changes. but only after the initial silence. We first have to be in that initial silent space. So I want us to do a little exercise because I want to make it a little bit practical, because I know, that we all are looking for more than just enhancing our intellectual, academic Torah wisdom. I want us all to just take a minute, close our eyes for a minute, and I want to ask you something. And I want the first, most spontaneous answer to arise. This is, by the way, some of the things we're going to be doing in the Healing Hearts program. A lot of just stopping in the middle, and I'm going to just put you into an exercise. I'm going to ask you to journal. I'm going to ask you to be doing practical work and applying it to your own life. So I want to try that with you all today. I want you to just close your eyes for a minute. I'm going to ask you a question. Okay? Just take a nice deep breath for a moment. And I'm going to ask you, and again, I want you to internalize the first, most spontaneous answer, because it'll give you a hint to what your subconscious mind really wants you to hear. That's the silence, right? So be in your silence for a moment. And I want you to bring to mind, again, let it be spontaneous, okay? The first, when I say to you challenge, what is the challenge you're going through right now? Let it arise in your consciousness. Just think about that moment of that challenge. And now I'm going to ask you, what does this challenge make you do? What does it force you to do? Positive or negative? Then I'm going to ask you, what does it make you do, but what does it stop you from doing? Two opposite polar questions. What does it make you do, this challenge? And what does it stop you from doing? But then I want you to also go into it. I take my time and when I do the actual program, but you can always listen back to the recording and do it at your own pace. Just write it down and then do it later on again as a review. I also want to ask you another question. Where have you ever met this before in your life? This type of what it forces you to do or what it stops you to do, where have you met this before in your life? Try to think back in your childhood. Try to think back in your family tree. Try to remember aunts, uncles, cousins, grandparents, parents, siblings, spouse, children, but more in your childhood. Neighbor, friend, teacher. I'm sure you've met this before. Because you know why? This is not about you. Your life is not about you. You think it's about you. You think it's about your husband. You think it's about your children. You think it's about your business. You think it's about your neighbors. It has nothing to do with them. The only reason why Hashem sends the people to trigger us is to just get our attention. Once they get our attention, we leave them alone. Once someone presses on the button, you don't have to keep pressing on the button. It's been done. The idea of someone pressing on our buttons is to get us to recognize that there is a level, a weak point, something inside that we have to correct. Again, something I talk about when I speak about the mirror therapy and, what you show me about me. And you have to be in a place to accept all this truth. I mean, I'm being honest, it's not easy. I don't teach easy stuff. I don't also work on myself on an easy level. I challenge myself, and that's the way I teach. But the whole idea, and you're welcome to open your eyes at any point, take notes of what went on inside of you and work through it. Again, I can't take you through the whole process. Again, I invite you to join the program, God willing, right after Pesach. But the idea is there's a lot inside of us. And it's only through the silence that preempts Geulah. And we know this because in 60 days from now, I don't know how long Shavuot is, when we stand at the footstep of Har Sinai to receive the Torah, we know that there was silence before we received Torah. We also know that before Hashem uttered the 10 utterances to bring about creation, there was silence. It was the speech that brought in the creation. So what does that teach us? It teaches that in order to receive anything, in order for creation to even take place, there has to be silence. In order to remove the confines of creation, you need silence. In order to bring about transformation, you need silence. In order to transform the chaotic mess of the exile into a new, recognizable light of love and revealed kindness of Hashem, there needs to be silence. That's what the virus did. The virus silenced us. It got us to go inside. And we're still going inside. It shut out all the noise. No more traveling, spending, your time in loud restaurants, traveling in, crowded and rowdy, airplanes. No, stay at home. Be in your own privacy. Internalize. And when you look at the word silence, shtika, shin, taf, kuf, which we spoke about, 2 weeks ago, switch the letters around. It spells the word keshet, rainbow. What does the rainbow have to do with silence? Well, after the destruction, in order to bring about a new creation, there was a rainbow. Rainbow means that something was destroyed and something new is coming in, which is one of the reasons why we shouldn't be looking at a rainbow, because we remember that it symbolizes destruction, no matter how beautiful it is. And yes, there are new beginnings from it, but in the silence, we recognize that something's being destroyed. In our case, we invite the silence so we could destroy the negative tendencies, habits, the frustrations, the voices of anguish that readily, almost naturally arise, because that's what the animal does. Give me the food. I want this. I want that. Demanding, coming from that place of me, the ego. We need to quiet that down. And then this brings me then to the last point. I always have something more to say, but let me just end off with this. What is that silent scream that Rabbi Nachman talks about? So the silent scream, we know that every time we speak, right, there's this air, generation of air that sort of begins in the lungs, right? The thought goes down into the lungs and sort of then exits out through the mouth. That's really what sound is, speech is. It's the voice of the thoughts. The voice of the thoughts sort of goes down, mixes up a little bit with the heart energy and the lung energy, and then it gets expelled out from the mouth, and that's how the words come out. Okay, ideally. Unless sometimes you allow it to just emanate from the heart and lungs, and then it comes out. If it comes from bottom to the mouth, it's bad, because you're speaking from your heart, which means you haven't gone through the proper filterization of thinking about what you're saying. The ideal situation is you think, it goes down, mixes up with the energies, and then takes tangible form through the mouth. So the idea of the silent cry that Rabbi Nachman speaks about is, he says that you should take all those perceptions, all the things that you're thinking about in your mind. Generally speaking, again, it would, just come out straight from the mouth. Rabbi Nachman says, take all those words, the screams, the anguish, the pain, the frustrations, and let it just be there in the mind. You can actually hear the screaming in the mind. You can have a whole sicha and conversation with Hashem in your mind. Rabbi Nachman talks a lot about this. You could be in a room filled with people and you are having hitbodedut galore with Hashem, and nobody knows it. You could dance with Hashem in your mind. You don't have to do it physically. But the idea is that you take all of your yearnings, your desires, and that scream. It's a real scream. You're not imagining it. You're really screaming in anguish. But you're screaming in acceptance. You're screaming out of a desire to want to see the truth. You know there's truth. You know there's something else. You know there's a klipa. And you scream inside your mind. You let that echo in your brain. You perceive it in your mind. And it shatters the heart wall. It shatters the ego's voice. And you're able to now witness something better. Because you're coming from a place of shatter, again, overshadowing the animal voice within. And you should know we're always crying, by the way, and we're always screaming inside. Anybody who has ever gone through frustration, sadness, anguish, disappointment, you name it, you're crying inside. That's the silent cry. The key is to take that cry and elevate it to a place of yearning. Again, if you take the word sheket, shtika, shin, taf, kuf, you know what it can also spell? Taf, shin, kuf, which is chuka. Chuka means desire. From a place of quiet, the silent cry, you're able to sense the most innermost yearnings, the deepest desires of your heart as you scream and you shatter that wall. You break the timtum and the foolish heart that thinks that it knows better, the ego. From that, the shattering comes out, and the heart that knows the truth, the desire to want to see the truth, is able to emerge. So I invite you all to try it. It's very powerful. You sometimes have to practice, and I just want you to also know when you do that, you might notice a screech or a shriek come out of your mouth. It's okay. It's all just like, it's sometimes hard to confine and contain this intense cry, but try it. But come from a place of saying, I'm first in hachna'ah. I'm remaining silent. First be in the silence and then let out the silent cry. But let the silent cry emerge from a place that I want to dispel the mindset of me thinking, Hashem, you're wrong. It's not fair. That's the reason why you're crying. You're looking for the truth. You're looking for the goodness. You want to see the sweetness. And you want that to emerge out to you. And Be'ezrat Hashem, B'Shem Hashem Na'aseh v'Natzliach, and just for you, Hashem, we want to come to the truth. We want to come to the inner place of recognizing the good that we know intellectually that's there. And Be'ezrat Hashem will practice this. And I just want to say one last thing. When you know how to scream internally, silently, from a place of yearning and anguish to see the truth, your Pesach, your refined speech, the way you say your Haggadah in less than 2 weeks from now, is going to be completely different. When you could really, really practice what it means to not say a word, be in acceptance, surrender to the Ratzon of Hashem, and cry out to Him that you want really to see the redemption. As we end off the Seder, what do we say? L'shana haba b'Yerushalayim. That's what we want from you, Hashem. And that's why we cry. We cry to you, Hashem, because we want L'shana haba b'Yerushalayim. I want Hashana Zot. We want this year. Right? Be'ezrat Hashem, we will have a completely different, transformative Pesach. And we will be able to have Seder in our brain. We will be able to see the Seder and be in acceptance that Hashem has a Seder. He has a plan. Everything's in order. It's exactly the way Hashem wants it to be. But that can only come first from a place of silencing what we think we know better. Ezrat Hashem, should be a Chodesh Tov, a month of Nisim, of love, health, happiness, redemption, personally, collectively. I invite all of you to stay in touch with me through Or Talks and the programs and the Or Emuna Energy Online Institute. And we should be zoche very, very soon to take out our tambourines, our pom-poms, our beautiful outfits, and dance together in the Ezrat Nashim, in the women's section of the Bet HaMikdash, Barachamim Gdolim V'Gluyim, with all the exuberant, redemptive, glorious energy and kindness that should be revealed very soon. Be'ezrat Hashem, for all of the universe, all of Am Yisrael, amen. Thank you, Naomi.
Wow. Amen, amen, amen. Thank you. Wow. Wow. So beautiful. Thank you so much. Wow. 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 Should be zocher mamish.
Amen.
You can feel it a little bit. Wow. Oh, boy. So, Orit, do you know how to post? Do you want to post a link to any of the programs that you're giving? Can you do that? I'm still so technologically dumb.
So I no, chas v'shalom. I just put out the oramunaenergy.com.
Okay.
Everything's there. Also how to contact me. Everything's there. It's also, by the way, dailydoseofemuna.com. I'll also put that out there. I don't know why my microphone's making really weird noises. Okay. I'll write down also dailydoseofemuna.com. And I'm, if anybody has questions and if anybody wants to talk to me now, I'm happy to, I'm also putting in my email here. So you've got all the information.
Anybody have any questions for Orit? She's here right now. Anybody have any questions over what most amazing? Oh, there's Michelle.
Always. It's like if we could just all be sitting around the table and talking. It's terrible to be so far away from each other, but yet close.
Yes.
Orit, thank you so much. I do have a question, actually. So when, just to like practically address Seder night. So like I've learned ideas like at Manishtana, then you can ask. Also, you can make bakashos at the word v'nitzach, would be probably the appropriate time to do what you're describing here. And then I guess where it leaves me a little bit of a confusion is let's say at the word v'nitzach, and we really want to do what Rabbi Nachman's suggesting. Is it that I prepare myself before you get to that part? I know it sounds so like crazy technical, and
it's
that's
no. I'm so glad you're asking. Let me explain to you. It's all in the preparation. You are so 100% right. It's all in the preparation. Think about it. The Seder is 4 hours long. A wedding is 4 or 5 hours long. How much preparation do you do before a wedding? How much preparation do you do before a simcha? How much preparation do you do before Pesach? And before you turn around, you close your eyes, you open, Pesach, like where, Pesach, where did it go? And it's all in the preparation. So yes, that's why having this class 2 weeks minus a couple of days before Pesach is so elementary. It's so important. Start now. Start learning. And it's a tool for life. Just sitting there and I sometimes feel like my whole body just goes into like, I a lot of times I do this silent scream and I just like hug myself. I just hug myself and I'm screaming and I'm like squeeze myself and I'm like, and I go into this davening mode, and I can hear the echoing. I can hear the frequencies. I can hear the energy move in my brain. And it's all about just lifting it up to you, expanding my brain through the scream. You really literally you literally are energetically expanding your brain so that you can take in more light. You can take in more of Hashem's wisdom and clarity of maybe some of the whys. So yes, practice before, for sure.
It sounds like it's because there was 2 things in there. There's the yearning and the desire of what you want, but before that is the letting go. So it almost sounds like it's the idea that you take hold of yourself, and the inner silent scream is just like that.
Yes.
Contract. As you're birthing, that deep,
yes,
slow groaning. Let it go to receive, and just empty yourself. And it's in the deepest way, and then from that point you could say, I guess, and from that place of deep desire, it kind of like strikes you.
Yes.
Oh, I want to be yours, Kadosh Baruch Hu, and whatever else you want to yearn and desire. Is that am I getting that?
Yeah. No. Listen,
I'm feeling what you're saying.
It all starts. Remember, we said it all starts with the hachna. Ken ayin. I'm in agreement. Yes, to what my eye is seeing. That's what hachna is. I first have to say, I don't know. like I think I know, but and Rabbi Nachman says, how do you know that you know something? When you say I don't know. Because when you say I don't know, that's really true. That's true. You really don't know. We don't know. We don't know nothing. That's the only thing we can say we really know for sure, is that we don't know. And so the idea is to be b'hachna. Yes, the silent screen, in my opinion, you have to preempt it with just acceptance. Just like this closing, and I'm just accepting it. And the acceptance also can come from a place of asking those questions that we asked. What does this stop me from doing? And what does this force me to do? Because there's something there. There's something there in this, there's a message here. So I'm going to be quiet. I'm going to try to enter into that place of acceptance, saying, you know better. Okay, well, let's see what you know better. What can this make me do? What is this making me do? What is this making me not do? Where have I seen this before? Maybe I'm replicating a conditioning of my survival brain mode that really doesn't even belong to me. And Hashem wants me to get to know this weak area of my life so that I could be metaka and I can correct it. I could fix it. Hashem wants me to be fixed. He wants me after 120 to come up to Shemayim and not be the same neshama, so to, encasement as when I started out my life in the womb of my mother. He wants to see progress. I want to see progress. Right? I don't want to be in kindergarten all my life. So yes, I have to go into a place of silence, acceptance, asking some questions, and then yearning to push it up to the point where I'm screaming and I'm saying, Hashem, show me the way. I feel like when I scream, that's what I'm saying to Hashem. Show me the way. Just, what do you want? What do you want me to do with this? I'm accepting it. I love you. This is good. I want to be so close to you. I want to have such a level of understanding that I'll shatter that misconception of me thinking that I know better and that you're wrong. I want to shatter that. Bezrat Hashem. Okay. Someone else? Yes.
Hi, Elaine Joseph here. Hello, and thank you. So inspiring and beautiful and amazing. I have a question. When you spoke of the healing heart exercise and, to state challenge, and what is the second step? What does it force you to do? The third, what does it stop you from doing? And then you mentioned, think of people that, and I just need to finish that sentence.
What is, where have you seen this before in your life? Where did you hear your mother say that? Did your father, your grandparents, your aunts, your uncles, your friends? It's some sort of a learned condition. Again, we have to step away from the confinement where we think that everything is about me. This happened to me because I grew up in a family like that. This happened to me because I had a mother like this, a father like this. I was challenged like that. Our lives are not about us, and certainly not in this generation. We've been here, we've done that. We're all reincarnated. There are no new souls. We've all been here. We've all met the people that we're meeting. We've all been here before on Zoom. We've done all this before. So in order for us to really genuinely heal, we need to open and expand the consciousness and recognize that there is something here that some ancestor in my family tree didn't finish. They left off after 120. They left it for me. I want to finish the job. Does that bring clarity?
Oh, that's amazing. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
It really takes you out of the confines of Mitzrayim and feeling like you've done massively wrong things in your life, and it's all your fault, and it's all because of you, and it's you. We blame our parents, and no. We came in here with a job, and Hashem created the circumstances of our lives to fit that job. The job is to separate evil from good. So if he put me in a family where there was a chaotic, traumatic mess, right, which happens to be my childhood and probably many of ours, if that's the childhood I went through, it wasn't that the childhood created me who I am. I came in having to fix me who I am. So Hashem garmented and clothed the circumstances so it fits perfectly into the job that I need to correct. And that was maybe because of Aunt Sarah didn't finish her job. Could be. I don't know. But it's not about me and it's not about you. Not in this level of where we are in Geulah, the process of Geulah. We're at the end line. That's it. We're paying off the debt, and Geulah is here. So we're finishing up jobs that were left behind by someone in our family tree.
Thank you. I just finished the JLI, Journey of the Soul, and the soul totally fits into what I learned from that. And, like you say, to finish a job, that's like so fits in. Thank you.
Thank you.
That's great.
Thank you, Hashem, for giving us the knowledge of knowing this.
Yeah.
Yes.
Can I say something?
Please.
Please,
Yes.
go ahead.
Go ahead, Sally, and then Galina. Yes.
Yes, I actually, it's Chaya Sarah.
Oh, sorry.
Sally's my husband. It's written under his name.
I got you. Okay.
Okay. Sorry, everyone. Okay. So my question is this. It almost sounds as if I'm throwing it off of myself and I'm saying, oh, it was Aunt Sarah who didn't finish and I have to finish for her. Okay, I could, as I'm talking, I could think of it as Aunt Sarah might have even been me, another neshama
Yes,
in the other
very
world.
good. You're correct.
And
by
I
saying-
have to fix that other neshama. But is it right to think that it's someone else and then it's not me?
Okay, so first of all, of course it's you, because if you're connected to it, then there is a part of you in it, right? I mean, obviously it is you because you're connected in it. But we're, in other words, we're not in the position here. I'm not telling you to start going, having family tree parties and trying to figure out what did, although I will tell you, you would be surprised what a nice bottle of wine and everyone drinking wine, shotim yain yotzeh sod, when you drink wine, a lot of secrets come out. You would be surprised at how many secrets are in the family. This is something we learn a lot in energy, the energy workshops, is the idea of how many secrets, things we don't even know. And then you wonder, why do I feel the way that I feel? Well, now it makes sense to me because now I just learned about this something that someone had in their brain. And now it makes sense that energy was planted into my psyche. But let me just explain to you something. It's not a freebie card. That's not what I'm saying. It doesn't mean I'm sending away my responsibility from correcting what I have to correct. But let me just bring it to a very clear, specific place for all of us. You and I and all of us and Zoom and virus and 5,781 years worth of living would not happen unless Adam, Harishon, and Chava messed up. Correct? Like we know that. We wouldn't be here. We're all remnants and shards of consciousness that broke apart from that time. What that already tells us is that we're already carrying a consciousness that's not ours. This is not about you or me. This is about Adam, Harishon, and Chava. And we were all given the opportunity to correct a mode of consciousness that was fragmented off of him and her. So we already see that we're a product of ancestral trauma, correct? I don't even have to, I'm not even going back to Aunt Martha and Holocaust and pogroms and Yetziat Mitzrayim. Forget that. I'm going way back to the beginning. That's the whole Shar Gilgulim, the whole idea of the Gates of Reincarnation. I'm not here to explain it. I have no clue what that means. But I can tell you for sure that we have all been here and we've all done that. For all we know, that our husband was our son and we were their, his mother. I don't know. We haven't met the people that we're meeting today the first time. We have to know that. I didn't say exactly how to fit that in, but we have to know that. We're correcting and settling debts right now. You could push off a debt and push it off and say, oh, I can pay off the loan now, save a little bit of interest, or I can wait until the due date in 10 years from now. Hashem says there's no more pushing it off. You can't tell the bank clerk anymore, I'm going to wait. Geulah's coming. Hashem says you got to pay off the debts, whether it's something you didn't complete in a past lifetime or your aunt didn't complete in a past lifetime. We have to finish the debt and correct the consciousness. And we all are doing it, by the way. That's the good thing. The good thing is that we're all correcting. All roads lead to Yerushalayim. That's my motto. everyone, we're all correcting. Even the children, quote unquote, off the derech, they're all correcting. Hashem's not leaving, and there's no Jew left behind. Hashem is enabling us to correct. The question is whether we want to make it as easy as possible. And the way to make it easier is by hachna'ah, by accepting all that we're learning right now. Bezrat Hashem. Galina?
No, before I'm done, I just want to say something. You said that. I had many years ago, and Nicole told me that our generation actually is because there's been so many reincarnations, that nobody is originally from their full neshama. That everybody comprises many sparks of many neshamas, because we've been here so many times. And he said to me something very, very interesting. He said that every single day is a certain specific correction that we have to do.
Yes.
Every specific day is a correction. He said, and when we correct it, that spark of the neshama goes up because it's been corrected.
Yep.
He says, and if we don't correct it, he says, we've actually lost that opportunity. That day of that correction does not come back.
Or it gets planted to somebody else, and there's different cheshbonot that happen, but you're correct. That's why they say when it comes upon you to do a mitzvah, do it. Because you don't know if that is not your correction that day. Exactly.
Right. He said you lose that opportunity of that correction of that day, and you're not going to receive it. It does not come back.
Yes.
And that's a crazy thing when you think about it. That is actually like jolts you.
Yes.
And I just want to say one other thing. You said that when you do when we go up to Shemayim at 120 years, you said that that Hashem wants our neshama to be different, like not the same neshama. But when I think about that scream, Orit, that scream that we talk about, that inner deepest scream, it's not just that Hashem, that feeling that Hashem wants us to be different. It's that when you feel that root of your neshama, when you're in that place, that scream is the scream of almost allowing me to be free from all the constraints. I want so badly. I feel it, and I want it. I feel the enslavement of it.
Right.
And it's almost that I can't do it. I can't do it without you, Hashem.
Right.
I can't do it. And that scream is like almost the scream of let me be free from all the constrictions that stops me from completely just being in that place of my soul that is only with you.
Right. And it's only because of you that I'm able to even scream. I can't even scream without you. We say that before we start Shmoneh Esrei. You open up my mouth. I can't do anything without you. I can't succeed. I can't fail, quote unquote. I can't do anything without you, Hashem. And yes, it's exactly it. It's I just want to be with you. I need you. I can't do anything without you. I'm a shmata. I love to use that analogy. I'm a shmata without you, Hashem. I'm completely broken. I can't. So true. Galina, you had a question? I don't know if that's your name.
Yes, no. I want to add something. You're amazing woman. I really in love with you.
I love you too.
I want to tell you how I learned it. Hashem bless you. Everyone is amazing.
Amen.
But what I learned by myself at the end of last year, whenever happened that make me cry, I accept right away. I don't ask why. And after it's taken several, probably 10 seconds, 15, to go back in my life and to see when I was crying, when I was suffering, when I have pain, and how was the reason, and how everything changed for the best for me. And that at the time of pain, I don't see anything ahead of me. I see only pain.
Wow.
And how it turned out for the best, for the miracle.
Wow.
In this case now, it only started 6 or 7 months ago. And now whenever I have pain, physical or emotionally or whenever, I tell myself, accept it. That's all.
But
Shut
I want
up.
to, but I want to make sure, Galina, that you don't just accept it, sweetheart. I don't want you to just accept it. I want you to then scream out to Hashem in anguish and say to him, show me the good. Show me the good. I'm accepting it. Show me the good. That is
But
what,
I do it.
yeah. That's
Yes,
important. Don't
but
forget
I
that
do this
stuff.
after I go
Good.
back. No, I'm crazy. I'm not accepting anything. I'm fighting with Hashem. And I will back him. And I will tell, I love you. You need to show me your love to me.
Beautiful.
I'm tough. I'm from Russia.
I love
But
it.
in the beginning, I stopped myself. I fight with KGB and I win.
Right.
And Hashem always on my side. Sometimes
Wow.
it takes me longer to figure out.
I need to
Sometimes
spend
it
more
can be
time
right
with
away.
you, Galina. I need to be your friend. Oh my gosh.
Anytime I tell you, I don't know, all these books that I'm reading, Rabbit Blisky, I spent for the last couple years, maybe thousands of dollars that I don't have, but I was saving money to buy the books and to process, to understand, and to talk to myself, talk to Hashem. Why the reason I was born, what I need to do in my life.
Wow.
And this is like adventure in myself. But I never accept, but I still tell God,
Right.
I trust
Beautiful.
you, loving Father, forgive me and give me wisdom to see the beauty of this suffering
Wow.
and help me to go away the suffering.
Wow. Amazing. Amazing. I'm telling you, Geulah time. This is it. This is truly Geulah consciousness. That's really, I'm honored. I'm honored to know you and all of you. Really beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Shari, you said you wanted, I think Shari also wanted to say something.
Hi. Thank you. Yes, I think this is so incredible. Question is, I learned a long time ago from a Bacher about doing the same thing that I believe you're saying. And he said, when you go into yourself, you say, why? And what do I mean? So when you're, like you said, you say, what is holding me back? And what do I run to? So I'm thinking it's the same thing. If I say, why do I feel this? And what do I mean? Then I have to explain it to myself. And then you understand it and then it gets released. Are we talking the same
Yeah,
things?
we really are, because when we ask those questions, what is this stopping me from doing versus what, am I able to do now because of this? Like, for instance, an example would be, okay, I'm having this issue with Shalom Bayit. What is this forcing me to do? Well, this is forcing me to work on myself and see that I have to be more patient, more loving, more kind, more understanding, more empathetic. What is this, stopping me from doing? It's stopping me from, throwing dishes across the floor and working on my animal and allowing myself to become completely chaotic and have expression of my chaos, take form, that chaos is taking form, and so on and so forth. So, and then again, have I seen this before? Yeah, well, let me see, where have I seen this before? Let me go into that, Anyway, at the end of the day, Shari, what you're expressing is exactly the case. You go into an inner dialogue, and then from that place you scream because you ask Hashem to show you the way. Hashem, show me the way to what I need to be doing with this. I know that you have a message in the bottle here. I want that message. So yeah,
It's beautiful. I've done it in the past, and that's when I covered my hair.
wow.
It really was so epiphany style, and it was incredible. So thank you for being with us.
Thank you, Hashem. Thank you, Hashem. Okay, are we at the?
Can I ask one thing?
Please.
In the beginning, thank you. I have a lot of friends who are close with you, and I never really had the opportunity, and I'm so grateful.
Thank you, Hashem.
So, having been a person, I'm sure a lot of us can say this, have been through a lot of traumatic things with my children, and that's what built me into this journey. But this particular aspect, probably I've done it in a different, not calling it this, but this dialogue of when you're in the pain, right? Like, can I give a real example? My
Please.
son, who's been through so much crazy trauma, lived in Israel for a while, came back here, has been without a job, with a spectrum child, with so many challenges, and has built himself and worked on himself so much. And they were going back to Israel. So first the flight got canceled last week. Then we didn't have a place for them. Then last night they went back to the airport, and again, they messed up with taking their luggage out of storage, and they put them up in a hotel bed. And he was like, the whole journey back, like watching him in more pain, trying to do a good thing, is like, that whole thing of a mother's pain and a child's pain, and how do you? So what I want to understand is that dialogue that you're doing with your pain at the moment, how could this be fair? Give this boy a break, that kind of thing, which I don't go to that much anymore, but I know he does, so I'm feeling his. Mm-hmm. I'm knowing it's Yisur, I'm understanding, but I'm also watching his pain, right? And his wife's pain, and these kids, and I'm like, what does that mean? The transition of the argument, right? Like
So let's go to that question. Let's go.
And then the scream is really just the yearning, not the argument at all.
No, the screaming is not the argument. It's part of the hachna process.
It's not the argument.
No. So we're gonna go straight into this and understanding the details of this. All that you explained to me here are all circumstances that feel to me, and correct me if I'm wrong, but it feels to me that this is way beyond your control. I mean, these are mess ups, annoyances, flukes, you want to call them flukes, red tape, I don't know. We can name them all the languages of the world, but at the end of the day, this is not something you could have foreseen, or, it's a circumstance. So when we ask that question, what does this force me to do? What does this force you to do? Leave your son for a minute, because you can't control his psyche. But what does this force you to do?
Accept.
That's it. That's it. You got it. That's it. It's a very clear answer. It forces me to accept. What does this stop me from doing? Thinking that I'm in control. It stops me from thinking.
From calling the airport and saying, "How dare you?" Like just saying in malasot.
Right. So that's it. That's the avoda. But now I'm still in pain. Okay, I got clarity on it. But I'm still in a lot of pain. This is still really annoying. I'm seeing my son. So I'm going to let out that scream inside of me. It's going to be my scream together with my son's scream. And I'm going to scream it out to you. And I'm going to say, Hashem, I'm in pain. I'm in so much pain. Because even though I have a level of understanding now, and I understand where you want me to go with this, at least to some degree, the little speck of knowledge, of chokhmah, of da'at that you gave me, of understanding, but Hashem, I'm still in pain. And I know at the end of the day that the real reason why I'm in pain is because you're not here to give me a hug right now. I don't tangibly feel you hugging me and taking my hand and saying, here, sit on my lap, and I need your caress right now. I need you to tell me everything's going to be okay. And I don't have that. And that's why I'm screaming out to you, Hashem, because what I really am missing in all this mishkababel is your hug and your embrace, to know that you're with me and that you love me and you're going to take care of me and my son. And you're not going to cast us away like I felt when I was cast into this universe and I left the holy throne. Because that's what we're really all feeling. That's what I said before. We're all in trauma because we all feel like Hashem abandoned us when he threw us, so to speak, into this world. And we never separate from that. I want you to know. You and me till today, every time we shed a tear, it's because we feel and we remember the initial trauma of being cast out of Gan Eden and being sent away from the holy throne. And that's where we always go back to that. I don't feel loved by you, Hashem. I don't feel cared by you. I feel like you abandoned me. And that's what I have to settle in my head, in my scream. I want you back in my life. I need to know that you're here with me. I need to feel that you're loving me and you didn't just cast my son away. I need to know that. And I'm going to scream until I feel your presence again. And I say it and my heart is bracing for you. It's a hard place.
That's actually a lot of what I totally understand, because it's just good to know the sequence of the process. Then there's the part of me, and then there's the other part that you really don't have control over, which is wanting to make the boo-boo better for your children. They have to go through their silent scream,
Yes.
But
you can only carry
so
many, they also have to go through their process. And sometimes the process is breaking and then rebuilding. And sometimes our children, I'm going through this very personally in my own life. You have to witness your child break into complete smithereens, and you have to just sit there and witness it. And I want to tell you, that's where I go straight to Hashem, and I identify with the Shekhinah, and I say, you, the Shekhinah, are watching your children break apart, and you have to remain silent. That's what I am identifying with the Shekhinah's pain right now. That I'm personally I'm watching one of my children completely smash in smithereens, and I have to just be in Hachna and silently scream. And I'm telling you, that's why I'm telling you, this is I say it and I'm crying inside. It's a very, very, very deep place, but I identify with the what is the good in it? I'm able to really sense the pain of the Shekhinah. And I say to Hashem, if it wasn't for this child, I would never be able to really feel that pain of the Shekhinah.
I know. I had that with one of my
And that's what happened to me. And that's what happened to me when I covered my hair. That was when I did that dialogue. And what came to me was Hashem was crying through the entire Holocaust. And if he was in such pain, I can cover my hair. And from that moment on, I never looked back.
Wow. Cyril, I'm hugging you because I'm really feeling.
We're all hugging you.
You know what? Thank you. I'm telling you, this is I've had, out of my children, all but one went through ferocious journeys with Yiddishkeit from a lot of trauma that I didn't have control over and I didn't have knowledge of at the time. And I've come to that place more and more, especially when I had one of my children who just didn't talk to me for like 4 years. And like the way I am, the warmth and the love I got as a child that I've given my children, and the only way I could find Nechama during that time, which Baruch Hashem is over, was just to say, Hashem, you have so many children that don't talk to you. Wow. Like so many of your children don't lift up their eyes to talk to you at all. Or they're mad at you, or they don't even know that you're there. It's like, please, like I'm davening, my son should talk to me again. That was the only way that I could say, you can't take this kind of pain as a mother and not use it for Klal Yisrael.
Right.
Like that's the secret of Rachel Imenu. It's like when you take your pain and you connect it to the Klal, that's the way you can get through it.
Yes.
To say that, and that prayer, like one day the door opened. It was like Erev Yom Kippur, and it was over.
Right.
And it was like it never happened. Hazorim Bedima, but it was like Hayinu Kicholmin. It was like Hayinu Kicholmin. It's over. Calls, fine, we're good.
Wow.
It was
wow.
But it, that's what I know. I didn't know the process of the silent scream, understanding it, but it's very helpful, and I appreciate it. Thank you so much, Alavai. We should all see our children b'shleimus,
Amen.
And with them the healing. I have one also going through Wallaby land right now, and I've been through this so many times, and it doesn't get easy. It doesn't get easier. I get stronger, and I can go into a thank you. It's all good. And thank in advance for the Yeshua that are coming, and it's still very hard every time.
I just have to say something because I want to bring clarity to what you're saying, because I am going through my own little 10 Nisyonot of Abraham Avinu personally. I speak to my Rav, and I need clarity, because as an Emuna teacher, I don't like to be a hypocrite. And I think to myself, how can you teach Emuna and you're teaching women, be in acceptance, hachna'ah, silent scream, and here you are, you're agitated and upset and sad and could fall into depression and and I can't be that type of teacher. I'd rather just say I'm not teaching tonight. I can't teach like that. I can't, and it's a flaw and it's an advantage, but that's just the way that I am. So I'm trying to clarify. And when I was in touch with, I'm in touch with a couple of Rebbeim, but one of the more instrumental accessible Rebbeim that I'm in touch with is Rav Pinchas Winston Shlita, 36.org. Amazing Rav. Lots of wisdom, very down to earth, very, accessible, at least I'm able to access, and speak. And I said, what am I supposed to do with all this pain? And, and he just brought a lot of clarity, and he explained to me that this pain, it's one thing to have pain, but if the pain and the negative emotions are stopping you from doing your avoda, that's already Yetzer Hara. That's already Yetzer Hara. It's not a Yetzer Hara to be in a bad mood. That's what he said. He kind of like explained it to me. And he said, you're upset. You're okay. Yes, of course it's Yetzer Hara to start screaming and throwing plates and dishes to everyone because you're just so out of control. Yes. But as long as you can somehow still fight through it and daven to Hashem and keep the yearning, keep the silent scream, in the pain, in the moment, with the pain, with the tears, with the everything, but you're still doing your avoda. You haven't thrown in the towel, but bottom line is you haven't thrown in the towel. If you haven't thrown in the towel, then you're still doing avodat kodesh. You're still doing avodat Hashem. The fact that you're still stuck in the pain and you're still crying and you're still upset and you're still silently crying and X, Y, and Z, that doesn't mean that you're not in your Emuna. Because it could be, and this was the wow of what the Rav said to me. He says, don't measure your Emuna based on whether or not you're not upset. Because it could be that part of the Emuna challenge is to accept that you can't stop being upset. That was phenomenal for me. That was huge insight for me. Because here I am, I'm thinking, well, the way to gauge my Emuna is be happy, be happy. Go, what it was that song, right? Don't worry, be happy. And for me, it was like, but it's not. That's what he explained to me is that.
Say it again.
What he said was the inability to overcome the negative emotions that accompany the Nisayon is also part of your Emuna. Meaning that I have Emuna Shlema that Hashem, so to speak, my soul needs to experience the pain, the anguish, the helplessness, the anguish, the disappointment, that I can't do anything about this to fix it. Hashem needs me to go through that process of inability of overcoming the negativity. And that is part of the Emuna battle, is that I don't have the ability to overcome these negative emotions, and accepting that too. Accepting the fact that I can't be happy and just put a bowl around on my head and just be happy and sing. I can't. Even that's part of my Nisayon. But that doesn't mean I'm not going to stop begging Hashem to finally get me over the hump. I'm still going to beg. When did I, so to speak, drop out of the race is when I stopped asking for a Yeshua. I have to keep asking for the Yeshua, and I have to keep seeking deeper to look for that moment where I will be able to be happy. But for the time being, I just have to accept that maybe I'm not meant to be happy right now. Meaning it's to accept that I need to go through the pain. I need to go through the helplessness. I need to go through the powerlessness. That's part of what my soul needs to go through right now. I'm not losing hope that there's going to be a time where, like you said, the Yeshua is going to come. But for now, even that I have to accept. To be real, exactly as Shari said. His name is Rav Pinchas Winston. He lives here in Telstone. So it's all a journey. It's all a journey. And this is part of the shackles of breaking and rebuilding.
Orit.
Yes.
This is the last question. This is the last question.
Yes.
At very last,
Yes.
It's a great way to end it with the story. I wasn't going to share it because it's very personal, but whatever you just said now, I am the granddaughter of Shmuel Gutman. He left Israel, Bnei Brak. He left in the 1930s because he had tremendous trauma. I only found out about this trauma many years later from a cousin, but just this last few months, I found out that his name was actually Aaron. And he dropped that name when he came back. But just in the last couple months, that information came to me, and it's exactly the story that you're saying. We have to see through many generations, and I can elaborate more to you in person someday, Orit, but really astounding. And everything that you said, I think we all picked up little pieces of it. And thank you. We're all silently screaming and dancing with you. And Bezrat Hashem, we should see the Geulah.
We will see.
Bezrat Hashem.
We will see it. We will see it. God willing, Barachamim. Thank you, Naomi. I'm sorry that we kind of went overboard here.
It was amazing. It was actually absolutely beyond amazing. It was so beautiful. And thank you so much for spending all this time. It was just, it was extraordinary. I don't know what else to say.
Yes, we're all hugging each other through the process. And Bezrat
Thank
Hashem,
you so much.
Bezrat Hashem, we will get through this and we will dance. We will dance our way to the Bet HaMikdash. Bezrat Hashem.
Amazing.
Thank you, Naomi. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Chag Kasher
Amen,
Sameach to
amen.
everyone. Be well.
Amazing. Everybody,
Thank you so much.
so beautiful. Thank you so much.